Secretary Keller, tell us where we're headed.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Governor Perdue, members of the legislature, members of the judiciary, the Bureau of Justice Assistance and the Pew Center, and all of our public safety partners. The Department of Corrections is truly committed to this bipartisan collaboration. Justice Reinvestment is not just a project for us, it's an investment that will allow us to achieve the results that we desire. It's about spending less, building prisons, and doing more to help offenders successfully lead lives in their communities. And why is this important? We currently have approximately 40,000 inmates in confinement. That number is growing by approximately 800 annually. That is expected to continue unless we make some changes. It costs about $27,000 a year to house an inmate, to feed that inmate, to work that inmate through programs, to clothe that inmate. I think we all agree that $27,000 a year could be spent better. This project is about reducing spending on corrections and reinvesting in strategies that will protect the public safety. And that's why this project is so important to the people of North Carolina. We want to be smart about public safety. At this time, I'd like to turn the podium over to Senator Kinnaird.
I want to commend the governor for her vision and leadership in this area, as so many other areas, in looking for and embracing solutions to difficult problems. We as legislators have two concerns. First of all, we want to represent our citizens and our constituents and make sure that they are safe and that we have provided for them in the best way that we can. And then, of course, we have the budget that we have to work on. And what we also want to do is protect those citizens as taxpayers and make sure that when we spend their money, we spend it wisely. As you have heard, this is an innovative approach that has been proven in other states. We know it works in other areas. We, as North Carolinians, are happy to say that we are going to now embark on the same venture, which is going to save our taxpayers' money at the same time we're protecting public safety and our citizens. And I know that at the end of the day, we will be very grateful that we have taken this project on. And we know that our citizens and our constituents will be grateful because they will have been protected as well as saving the taxpayers' money in a time that's very difficult. And we need those innovative solutions. So I am very happy to join my esteemed colleague, Representative Stam.
Thank you, Governor Perdue, Secretary Keller, Senator Kinnaird, and the distinguished representatives and folks behind me. We all agree that the first and indispensable role of state government is to protect people from danger, and we will not lose sight of that. But it is true that state government does some things that seems to contradict itself. On a Tuesday, we'll invent 7 or 8 new felonies or upgrade other felonies. On Wednesday, we'll make the punishment for those felonies tougher, make it harder to get a job. And then on Thursday, we'll expunge the records of those same people because we realized what we did was not sustainable. We'll spend hundreds of millions of dollars to collect forensic information and investigation of crimes, and then we'll toss out some of the evidence in court for reasons that are not required by constitutional law, but just because of quirks in our statutes. We have all sorts of problems like that. We use incarceration almost exclusively. The threat of it is what to do about crime, and of course incarceration only came into its own about 300 years ago. We think that since something's been around for 300 years that it must be the only way to deal with things, but they're not. I'm happy to join this effort because we do agree that the solutions we come to ought to be driven by facts and policy and not just by preconceived notions. Thank you.
Governor, thank you, members of the legislature, and public and my colleagues here from the Pew Foundation and Council of State Governments. On behalf of the Department of Justice, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, we want to thank you. We're excited by this. We've seen and listened to Adam and Michael Thompson talk about the work that's being done here in North Carolina to push forward the Justice Reinvestment work. And we're excited by that because it's definitely a bipartisan effort. We look at Justice Reinvestment at the Department of Justice as a smart way of doing the business of corrections and reinvesting in our communities with the services that can then go to the offenders and increase public safety by not looking at new victimization and giving the offenders the services they need so that they don't return to the Department of Corrections. So we look forward to this. We've seen Justice Reinvestment work around the country. We've probably been in about 10 states to date, and each week we get another call from another state wanting to do this. And as an example of how well this works, we're getting ready to issue a solicitation, a grant program of $10 million within the Bureau of Justice Assistance. You don't have to worry about that. We're already here in North Carolina, and that's important to us. It's been done around the country, and now we're looking forward to doing the work in North Carolina and putting forth the effort and seeing the results that we've seen around the country and the successes that we've seen. So we thank you, Governor, and members of the legislature and the Department of Corrections. Thank you so much.
Governor, members of the General Assembly and the Court. I'm Adam Geld. I'm Director of the Public Safety Performance Project at the Pew Center on the States. And as you can imagine, us at BJA, there are a lot of states, particularly in this economy, that are grappling with this issue and looking for help and coming to us and saying, can you help us? So why are we here in North Carolina? We look for really three things. As a state, ready, willing, and able to tackle this problem, to roll up your sleeves, dig into the data, look at the evidence, and find out what works. Not just to save money, but to protect public safety and make some changes that are consistent with public safety and offender accountability. North Carolina has all three. As you heard from the governor, if the state does nothing over the next 10 years, you'll spend $2 billion more than you're spending right now on corrections, on new construction and operation. We put out a report a couple of weeks ago that showed that for the first time in almost 40 years, state prison populations across the country are going down. A very slight drop, but more than half the states now are declining in population. North Carolina continues to increase, so there is real impetus to act. And maybe most importantly, there's a true bipartisan effort afoot here, strong commitments on both sides of the aisle and across the three branches of government to really roll up the sleeves and work hard on this. So there's a tradition in North Carolina of using data and evidence to drive decision making. We see that alive and well here in this process, and we just have very high hopes and expectations for the work here. Thank you. I neglected my wrap-up duty. So there's a sports-related event that's about to happen. Remember exactly what it is. So I don't think we'll be doing any formal Q&A here, but a number of folks who are involved are able to stay around and take any follow-up questions. Thanks.
Thank you all. This is a big day for North Carolina, and we are very eager to see this come to fruition. The sports-related event is the Duke basketball team is arriving at the mansion, I think, as we speak. Oh, and thank you. There are several in the crowd. And so we look forward to congratulating them on a national championship. Thank you very much for being here.